out how to do what they want to do, and if it doesn't work, how to record the set. So I said to them, you need to know, you don't need to ask on the floor how to do it. We're telling you how to do it. That's what you want to do.
Okay, I need language.
Ja? Ik kan hem wel laten zien.
I'm looking for the secretary.
Wat die ene?
Oh,
Zit jy daar staan?
Thank you.
Yes.
Want the box out of your way?
And then you tell me.
It's a little easier for you to see, and
Okay.
more for her to see. It's up to you.
Well, she didn't want it, but
Okay.
I'm happy with it.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
Let me that one over there. Charlie, right. Oh, thank you.
that big enough?
Much better. Yeah, that's better. That's better. Thank you.
That's way better than it was. You're good?
Yep, I'm good.
Thank you. That's much, much better than yesterday. Okay. I will probably just but this will keep me from having to keep the track changes for you. That's right. Hi.
We all do. Oh, yeah. I've done it a lot before, but I haven't done it a lot.
I can't tell that you're scared.
Sorry.
I can't tell that you.
Oh,
You look
thank you.
Yeah, I think so.
Somewhat pretending.
Maybe that's I don't know what that would be, but whatever you need. Too obviously, or
Too funny.
yeah, that's not a good.
I just,
Okay, that'd be great.
I'll just wait.
Yep.
Can you catch it?
Here we go. Good luck.
Can you catch it with highways and byways? Call them in.
That's right.
So Carrie and I decided that at any time we would like someone's microphone.
great addition.
What?
You know,
Thank you.
I love
I need
the
a little-
philosophy. The Lord has already provided everything. Look around and see what she has done.
I don't need any help.
It's all right. You can see that better. So
There's a little glare, but I think I can see it.
you can. I will. If there's a very clear recommendation, I'll type it as you ask us to consider it.
I mean, besides everywhere. I wasn't speaking to it. In the strategies.
Friends, it is 9:31. Please find your seats and let us resume. Good morning. Once again, I am Lisa Vanderwall, and I serve as a vice president for our communion. Please join me in a word of prayer. Gracious God, help us now to listen in order to understand, speak that we might bring clarity, and discern to understand your will. Guide each one of us by your word and Holy Spirit. Amen. This morning, we will be once again entering our decision-making process as we consider the report of the Youth Caucus, the report of ecumenical engagement, interfaith work report, and the Justice Report. Before we begin that work, I ask Reverend Melissa Allison, a member of the drafting team and discernment team member, to bring us words of reminder, instruction, and encouragement.
Good morning. May God's peace be with you. Dear friends, as we are gathered here together in this space, so many of you have had the opportunity to attend the discernment and consensus educational and training opportunities. This is a reminder to bring forward into our very tired minds those teachings that we have heard. Friends, as we gather in this space to discern the will of God and to make decisions, we remember our shared values as the WCRC. That as we gather as the body of Christ, friends, we are here seeking to understand God's will. We remember together that each participant has been given unique gifts and insights. Friends, we remind ourselves and one another that each participant's contributions are worthy of our respect. And our aim here together is to discern what the Spirit is saying to the churches through the General Council. And I know that even though at times it can be challenging, our commitment is to find faith-filled ways forward on which we can agree. So as we engage in this process, a few other reminders. Our time is limited. So please, when you speak, try to be as focused as possible. And our procedures indicate that means 3 minutes or less. Also, if you have already spoken on a specific topic, please recognize that the moderator may not call on you, even if you are standing at a microphone. It doesn't mean that she doesn't like you. It means that we are embodying our shared values to allow as many voices to speak as possible. And we are here not to just speak, but actually, more importantly, to listen. To listen carefully to one another, and to be ready to offer solutions that are helpful to the entire group, not just put our own ideas forward. Friends, as we gather in this space, may we remember to respect and care for all of our members, especially when you have a different point of view. And this does include respect for our moderators. Please do not begin to speak into a microphone unless you have been recognized. If you do so, this may mean that your microphone will be turned off. Again, not personal. It is to help us to live into our procedures together. And also, a reminder that when the body determines consensus on a matter, whether that's an amendment or part of a proposal or the entire proposal, if consensus has been reached, the matter is concluded. We are not going to return to it. If you are an individual who is holding a blue card and feel passionate about that, you may file a dissent. You may do so by writing it down and taking it over here. Hi, friends at the green table. To our friends at the green table, they will also give you a piece of candy if you would like, and they will record your dissent in the minutes. At any point in time, if you need a reminder about our procedures for discernment and consensus, please pull out your handbook, consult Appendix A on pages 71 through 88. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Let us now begin to look at the reports from the drafting team, report on the work of the Youth Caucus. I now ask George Marcinkowski. Did I get it right? Mashinkowski.
George Marshankowski.
Marshankowski to introduce the report.
Moderator, I'm pleased to report that all of the groups met on Saturday evening, although some of the groups were a lot smaller than they could have been, so I would like to encourage delegates to make every effort to attend their discernment groups so that the discernment groups may be full in number. The drafting team also met late on Saturday evening, but I'm pleased to report that we didn't go to bed too late. You have the proposals on email. I received mine this morning, and those who are on the General Council group would have received the full set of proposals as amended. A couple of things that came out of the comments that I would like to mention. Firstly, groups, many of the groups said, we need more time, we need more clarity on certain things, more background would have been helpful. Many groups lifted up the affirmation, to be reformed is to be ecumenical. There was a strong support for regional approaches and contextual sensitivities. Many requests to include work for justice, action, partnership, not only dialogue, in ecumenical and interreligious matters. The ecumenical movement has many locations and many partners, not only in Geneva and in Rome. The terminology interfaith seems to be problematic in the French and Spanish, and for some in English. There is a preference for interreligious. A request for broader examples than just Christian-Muslim relationships. And then under Covenanting for Justice, many of the groups lifted up the declaration, injustice is contrary to the will of God. Many groups also sought information about such terms as Zak tax, Nifia, and Christian Zionism, and we've tried to add a reference to those in the proposals. Some groups asked for more achievable short-term strategies. And then we had a number of requests after the presentation on AI to add this as one of the proposals, and so we've done that, to strengthen work with indigenous people and also to include intersectional approaches and work with regional strategies. We also picked up some notes from at least two groups about disappointment about the last plenary session, and we have made that feedback to the business committee, and they have heard what those groups have said. Moderator, then we move back to the Youth Caucus report, which is unfinished business from the previous session. Moderator, I move proposal number 1, the General Council adopts the report of the Youth Caucus with appreciation.
Thank you. That is before us. Please show us how you feel about that. Seeing only orange cards, that has been approved. Thank you.
Proposal number 2, the General Council resolves to facilitate greater opportunities for youth fellowship across the communion, A, by organizing at least one independent youth gathering prior to the next General Council, and B, by promoting greater opportunities for fellowship at regional and global levels.
Please show your cards. Again, I think we have complete consensus.
Proposal 3, the General Council recognizes the importance of good mental health by ensuring in its planning measures that prevent burnout, overwork, stress, and lack of sleep at meetings, including the next General Council, and instead resolves to create greater opportunities for reflection, rest, and Sabbath in our worshiping life, promoting the same within its regions and member churches.
Please show by your cards how you feel. Again, I see no blue cards. Let's move on.
Proposal number 4. The General Council requests the Executive Committee to establish a working group, including young people as members, to study the youth statement and to strengthen intergenerational collaboration within the communion.
Shall we see your cards? That is carried as well.
Moderator, we move now to the Ecumenical and Interreligious Relations report. And the first part is working with all partners God provides. I'm going to read the first paragraph and ask you, moderator, to test the house, and then each subsequent paragraph after that. First paragraph, working with all partners God provides. We live at a time of growing fragmentation of societies, highly charged religious identities, and polarized religious tensions. When churches and religious groups are tempted to become complicit with forces of division, separation, and injustice, the General Council of the WCRC therefore resolves to recommit to increased efforts to live out God's gifts of unity and justice in covenanting relationships with all the partners that God provides.
Please show how you feel. That is carried. Thank you.
The next paragraph, the ecumenical engagement of the WCRC. The ecumenical engagement of the WCRC with other Christian communions aims at promoting the visible unity of the larger church in its common witness to the world. In ecumenical dialogues and joint program activities, the WCRC will emphasize the interconnectedness of theology, communion, mission, and justice, and will foreground the voices and perspectives of marginalized Christians around the world.
How do you feel about that? Again, I see complete consensus. Thank you.
We're on to the conceptual goals. The ecumenical work of the WCRC shall be based on the following conceptual goals. A, to be reformed is to be ecumenical. The understanding that the Reformed Church ought to always be reformed according to God's word has opened the doors for profound ecumenical engagement. This allows the integration of different voices and traditions into the discernment of the church.
How do you feel? That has been approved.
I'm going to read the first sentence again, and then paragraph B. The ecumenical work of the WCRC shall be based on the following conceptual goals. B, ecumenical dialogues have been based on the assumption that Christian denominations are closed entities, defined by doctrine and church order that only allow very limited internal dynamics. This perception misses much of the living realities happening under the established names. The potential of the Reformed understanding that the church is always reforming shall be developed to accommodate the changes in the denominational landscape.
How do you feel, House? That also is affirmed.
The moderator, I move the ecumenical work of the WCRC shall be based on the following conceptual goals. C, the Reformed pursuit of unity is not for its own sake. We recognize that the church's unity is a gift and obligation from God. This unity must be visible because it testifies to the Christ who, as head of the church, has conquered the sins of separation, enmity, and hatred between peoples and groups. Belhar, Article 2. Justice is a matter of setting things right. Reconciliation sets relationships right. The pursuit of unity, then, cannot be disassociated from the pursuit of justice.
How do you feel? I see no blue cards, so that it always. Oh, microphone A. I invite you to speak.
Thank you for the opportunity. I'm Dana Diakumala from Christian Churches of Java, Indonesia. I'm a delegate. I think it will be really great if the unity it's not only to testify but to do the mission of God too. So we don't only show we are God's church, but to do mission in the world. So the unity in the WCRC, we have mission to do in the world. I think that's a great thing too. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Once again, show of cards, please.
I'm not sure whether.
Sorry, for the person who spoke, was there an amendment that you wanted to make?
I think I should speak in Bahasa because I'm really great speak in Indonesian. Can I speak in Indonesia?
Okay.
Ya, jadi sepertinya untuk bersama-sama dalam kegiatan yang ekumenis, baik juga bukan hanya untuk bersaksi atau menunjukkan kita sebagai milik Kristus, tapi juga untuk menjalankan apa yang menjadi misi dalam konteks yang global, untuk bukan hanya terlibat kesatuan di antara kita, tapi kesatuan di antara kita itu juga menunjukkan kesatuan kita bersama dengan dunia. I hope they can translate it better than me. Thank you.
Was that captured for our tracking changes? Was that captured at all? Does that help the spirit of your comment? Okay, very good. So with that amendment, let me see how you feel on just the amendment. Yes. Okay, that has been agreed to. Now, the Part C is before you again. Could I see your cards for how you feel about Part C? That is carried. Thank you.
Moderator, I move the strategies, the first paragraph. In the light of these conceptual goals, the General Council resolves to affirm the following strategies. A, to promote Christian unity in mission through bilateral and multilateral ecumenical dialogues and other forms of ecumenical action and partnership as a witness to the world marked by increasing fragmentation and hostility.
How do you feel about Part A? That has been affirmed.
B, to engage with ecumenical partners in Rome through the Reformed Ecumenical Office, a partnership of the WCRC, the Church of Scotland, and the Waldensian Church.
How do you feel? That also is affirmed.
C, to express the WCRC's commitment to the ecumenical movement at large by engaging with ecumenical partners and regional ecumenical bodies, including the Faith and Order Commission and other bodies of the World Council of Churches.
Body? That is affirmed.
And D, to collaborate with mission organizations that follow similar vision as the WCRC, including the Council for World Mission.
How do you feel? All orange cards. Thank you.
Moderator, we now move on to the second part of that listening session, the interfaith work of the WCRC. The first paragraph. The interfaith work of the WCRC strives for interfaith cooperation based on the recognition of our interconnectedness, shared humanity, trust, respect, and commitment to life. The WCRC's interfaith network engages with the question of Christian witness in a pluralistic and multi-religious world and accompanies churches in conflict situations.
First of all, may I go back just one action And I want to say we have affirmed the report for ecumenical engagement, and we are now working with the interfaith work. So that first paragraph has been read to you. How do you feel? I see one blue card at microphone A.
I'm still Danadea, still from Christian Church of Java, still from Indonesia, and I will speak in Indonesia. Dalam grup discernment 20 yang lalu, kami mendiskusikan bahwa interfaith bukan hanya tentang relasi antar agama, tapi juga dari berbagai aspek kehidupan termasuk dengan beragam makhluk ciptaan Tuhan yang lain. Jadi harapannya interfaith work itu bukan hanya bekerja sama dengan agama-agama lain, tetapi juga memiliki concern untuk menjalin relasi dengan ciptaan yang lain. Lalu yang berikutnya di bagian akhir kalimat itu yang menggarisbawahi mendampingi gereja-gereja yang berkonflik, sepertinya membawa paragraf ini menjadi eksklusif lagi, karena sebelumnya kita membahas tentang relasi bersama dengan pihak-pihak yang lain, baik dengan agama yang lain ataupun harapannya bisa bekerja sama dengan atau memperhatikan ciptaan yang lain. Tetapi ketika kita kemudian membahas kembali tentang hanya gereja di dalam konflik, maka ini mungkin akan mengembalikan bagian ini menjadi bagian yang eksklusif kembali. Begitu. Terima kasih.
Hopefully everyone heard the comments, and I'm wondering how people feel about that suggestion to include other,
So the red.
engages the way it's now to read. Can I see it there? Yes. The WCRC's interfaith work engages with the question of Christian witness in a pluralistic and multi-religious world, and accompanies churches in conflict situation and engages with concern for all creation.
Also, moderator, we might consider after interconnectedness, we could say with all creation or all living things. Just before the comma.
Shall we offer this as a single
Yes.
amendment
Sorry, yes.
with all creatures? So I'd like to test the House for how you feel about this amendment. May I see more cards, please? I do see a couple of blue cards. I'd invite one of you to come to the mic to speak.
Raif Cholakian from Lebanon. I will be speaking in English. I think this article is about interfaith relations, and we can have something else, another article about all creation, that includes all creation. But at this point, this discussion is about dialogue between different faiths. And so I think this will dilute the subject of creation and interaction with creation.
Thank you. Does anyone want to speak for the amendment? I see microphone C. Are you wanting to speak for?
Yes, thank you. My name is Chris Gosal from the Protestant Church in Indonesia. I'm speaking in English. Just want to add what Sister Dea said, that we are in Discernment Group 20, proposed that the last sentence, especially about the accompanies churches in conflict situation, became the new sentence that people in conflict situation. Our thinking is about the church, the country where churches is a minority. Is it very danger to speak about accompanies only churches in conflict situation? So we propose that people in conflict situation. Thank you.
So may I ask, are you in favor of the amendment, or did you want to amend the amendment? I will repeat that. Are you in favor of the amendment, or would you like a further amendment?
Yeah, thank you.
We will first deal with the First Amendment, which is on the red in the screen, and then we'll go back to that. Let us see how you feel about the amendments. Okay.
Just pause them for a second.
Hang on a second, please.
So let's be clear about which amendment we're going to do. So, want to do that one or that one? I think we take this one first. So let's just take where it says "and people." We're going to start with that amendment.
Okay, this is what we're going to do now, and I'd like to turn you to the first that is in bold at the top, with all creatures. So we're dealing now with people as opposed to creatures. How do you feel about the amendment of adding with all creatures? Can I see your cards? There is consensus that we will not have that amendment there. Second one, and people. How do you feel about the and people? I think we have consensus with the one blue card. You'd like to speak at microphone D? Or can you move on? Okay, let us move on then, and that amendment has been approved by the consensus. Finally, the last amendment piece is and engages with concern for all creation. May I see a show of cards, how you feel about that? We do have some blue cards and some orange cards. So if a blue card would like to come to the mic, please. I see someone coming to microphone A, please.
Moderator, Madam Moderator, I wonder whether I can comment as an advisor, if you allow me.
Please.
Chu Sapkum from the Council for World Mission. As a missiologist, I would like to advise how we use the term interfaith dialogue and interreligious dialogue. Now, first of all, when we say interreligious dialogue in academic world, we aim more the doctrinal, theological, and institutional dialogue with the institutionalized religions, for instance, religions who have scriptures and so on. And when we say interfaith dialogue, we more focus on the people. Secondly, we also include different spiritualities and worldviews and other faiths who have not much institutionalized. In this dimension of interfaith dialogue, particularly worldview and spirituality relate to creation, because these non-institutionalized religions, they often very close relationship with creation, particularly in indigenous faith. So normally we include creation dimension when we use interfaith dialogue. I'm saying this just for the reference from the academic world. Thank you.
So thank you. Please hold your applause. But I ask now if, in light of what we have heard, how do we feel about including the last part and engages with all creation, concern for all creation? We have quite a bit more orange than we have blue. Can the blue cards agree to move forward with this? How do you feel? Would any of the blue cards like to speak further?
Yeah, Madam Moderator, thank you.
B.
I am in favor with the motion. I'm not against it. I'm raising a blue card just because of the other people who are having blue cards to request the drafting committee to clarify. I thank the General Secretary of the Council for World Mission for clarification, but if what the drafting committee was meaning of that, apart from what he's saying, whether they align together or not, so that the drafting committee can clarify what does that mean before we vote on it. Thank you.
Moderator, the drafting committee didn't add that. It was added from the floor.
Right. Microphone A, do we have someone coming to the mic?
Thank you again, Harar Cholakian from Lebanon in English. I thank the clarification for interfaith and interreligious dialogue, and in that sense, the last part, I think, should say in conflict situations and engages with non-institutional groups, religious groups, indigenous people, whatever. I mean, this should have a new, clearer explanation of who is included when we say this last sentence. In light of the clarification given to us, I think that last sentence should be redrafted.
Do you have a suggestion for an amendment?
If I may, let me write it down and I can say something.
Madam President?
Yes,
I'm
microphone
Clayton
A.
from the Independent Presbyterian Church of Brazil. I'm going to speak in Spanish. Yo pienso que hay una mezcla de conceptos en ese párrafo, que lo mejor es parar ahora, lo escuchamos suficiente, que el comité trabaje eso un poco más para aclarar los conceptos que ahí están, porque en la plenaria no va a ser posible.
Thank you for your comment. I don't know that we will be able to rectify all of that in this session. I'm wondering if there's a motion to, what would be an appropriate motion? To refer it to? We could refer this to another body if we have a body to send it to. We could also agree that no decision can be reached, or the issue can be brought to a vote, and if it's agreed to by a 2/3 majority of voting delegates. And as the moderator, I would suggest that we move forward with bringing the issue to a vote at this point. This will have to pass by 2/3 vote, and so if you are agreeing to refer it, to bring the issue to a vote, please show your orange cards. And if you do not agree to that, please show your blue cards.
Yeah, a lot of people not.
We will bring this issue to a vote. You will need to raise hands, and it will have to be agreed to by a 2/3 majority. So please, if you would.
Just 51.
Sorry, it needs to be 50 plus 1. I am thankful to Melissa here. So if you agree to bring this issue to a vote, we've done that. So now if you agree to the amendment, please raise your hand.
Not your card, your hand.
Your hand.
Just voting on the amendment.
Please, no cards, just your hands. And if, Vice Presidents, if you could please.
Moderator, how do you determine 50 plus 1? We need to know the numbers of delegates first before you can determine it is 50 plus 1.
Thank you. Hands up, please. We will need to count. If you are voting yes on the amendment.
Madam President, no. Madam Moderator, please, can I speak?
Yes, who is speaking?
Me and C.
Yes.
I'm sorry, but we all know that we are not only delegates here. So if you ask for raise hand, we don't know which is delegates or no. I think you have used card. Thank you.
Yes, according to our procedures, voting needs to be done by a show of hands. I think alternatively we could, yes, you have to have a red lanyard, and perhaps what would be best if we have people stand rather than hands. If you are in favor of the amendment, please stand. Have you, that group sit, please? And now, if you are not in favor of the amendment, would you please rise? Second group is larger. Would you? Yes. The amendment fails. Now let us take this paragraph as a whole and see how we feel about that. Orange cards, please. I declare that that has been affirmed. Thank you.
Moderator, conceptual goals. The interfaith work of the WCRC shall be based on the following conceptual goals. A, the Reformed tradition offers a firm foundation for interfaith dialogue, engagement, and cooperation in our affirmation that all people are created in God's image. The whole creation is the theater of God's glory. Institutes 1:5-8. And humanity, bearing God's image, is a mirror to God's glory.
House, how do you feel about that? That is affirmed. Please return.
The interfaith work of the WCRC shall be based on the following conceptual goal. B, as Reformed Christians, we believe that God's work in the world is not restricted to the church. When we go out into the wider world, we find God already there.
How do you feel? That is affirmed.
The interfaith work of the WCRC shall be based on the following conceptual goal. C, religious actors should explore together religious resources in their traditions to affirm a common humanity and provide the foundations for joint witness and action for peace and the common good.
House, how do you feel? That is affirmed.
The interfaith work of the WCRC shall be based on the following conceptual goal. D, interfaith cooperation should prioritize mutual understanding and building resilient relationships as the foundations for mediation, conflict transformation, and reconciliation, when necessary, with all people of goodwill.
How do you feel? That is affirmed.
Moderator, we move then on to strategies. Considering these conceptual goals, the General Council of the WCRC resolves to affirm the following strategies. A, cooperating with global and regional partners with extensive experience in interfaith work.
How do you feel? That is affirmed.
Considering these conceptual goals, the General Council of the WCRC resolves to affirm the following strategies. B, by providing resources to support mutual understanding, relationship building, joint witness, and conflict transformation.
How do you feel? That is affirmed.
Considering these conceptual goals, the General Council of the WCRC resolves to affirm the following strategies. C, building a network of people with experiences in dialogues for life, for peace, reconciliation, justice, and the common good that can support member churches in multi-faith environments.
How do you feel? That is affirmed.
Considering these conceptual goals, the General Council of the WCRC resolves to affirm the following strategy. D, decolonizing the problematic stereotypes of interreligious dialogues by prioritizing action-based cooperation on justice issues and affirming local contextual expressions of spirituality.
How do you feel? That is affirmed.
Considering these conceptual goals, the General Council of the WCRC resolves to affirm the following strategy. E, accompanying member churches in conflict situations that are fueled by religious tensions in accordance with social, religious, and cultural sensitivities.
How do you feel? One blue card if you would like to speak. Microphone B.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. My name is Romila and I'm from the Presbyterian Church of Pakistan. I'm just wondering, if we are talking about to have a peace and justice in the whole world, why we are just mentioning accompanying the member churches only? It should be the churches or multi-churches, but not just the member churches. I'm just concerned. That's all. Thank you.
Can that be clarified in any way, or?
We could add in something, moderator. I'm just not 100% sure I understood what exactly should be added in. Perhaps somebody can help.
Is the problem with the member churches, is that what I'm understanding you to say?
I just wanted to know why we just say the member churches. It's just the partner churches, or I just wanted to know the clarification of this word of member churches. And if that can be amended to the extended churches, like all the churches around the world.
So would you suggest we just delete member?
Yes, yes. Could be another word, but not the member churches only. Yeah, thank you.
It's just hard to accompany
How do you
people.
feel about that? What? Sorry.
Moderator, it's just hard to accompany people that you haven't been invited to accompany. So this is why I think it was referred to our member churches in the WCRC.
Right, that is who we are as the amendment to delete member is before us. How does the body feel about that? I would say that we have more blue cards than orange, so I think that amendment is not approved. Can you return?
I think test the original.
So we'll take out or add back in member. And so we're back at the original. How do you feel about that? We have a couple of blue cards. Would someone like to speak further to that? To strengthen the original thought, a proposal? Seeing, are the blue cards comfortable with us coming to a consensus and moving on with this as it is? I see no no's. So that is approved by consensus. Thank you.
Considering these conceptual goals, the General Council of the WCRC resolves to affirm the following strategy: F, engaging in human rights advocacy, in particular with regard to religious freedom.
How do you feel? I have, thank you. I do have someone at microphone A to speak.
Thank you, Moderator Dario Barolin. I am asking to speak because I am a consultant.
Yes, you may.
I completely agree with this issue, but religious freedom today is also used as a weaponized in some countries. So the wording for me is a little bit complex. If you want, I can give some example of that, because our religious freedom is used sometimes to go against human rights. For example, in my country, in Uruguay, some is used a religious freedom for some churches to do not complain with human rights that the nation has approved. So I will suggest that the wording there, we need to be a little bit more specific what we mean about that, and also we cannot ignore how it is. Especially, United States is using that specific issue to get into several countries. It's a political weapon sometimes. Sorry to talk about that.
So is there an amendment that you would like to make, or someone else to strengthen that?
My question is, if we finish with engaging in human rights advocacy, that's fine. If we go further and we talk about the religious freedom, we will need to clarify a little bit what we are talking about.
Would anyone like to bring an amendment to bring clarity to that topic? There, yes, microphone A, please.
I am Pastor Rifat Fathi, Secretary General of the Synod of the Nile, Egypt. I am speak about the
the number F, engaging in human rights advocacy. I think in this sentence,
Sorry, we are? Okay, yes, sorry.
Okay.
Sorry for the interruption.
in this sentence, we are not the actor. We share the other when they are advocating about rights advocacy. But I need to change something, that defending human rights, not engaging with others to do this. If there is no one do this, I can do this, not to share them, to engage with them.
So let me test this. You just would like to amend it to defending human rights and then deleting engaging in? Is that what your amendment is? Okay. Just defending human rights, in particular with regard to religious freedom. That amendment is before us. Do we have feelings about that? How do you feel? There are a few blue cards. To speak about the amendment, could I have a blue card come to the mic? Someone at microphone B, are you speaking to the amendment? Yes, Johan.
Yeah, I'm actually coming back to the other proposed amendment in terms of religious freedom. So I'm not sure if that was the one that Dario proposed. Or do you want to talk about that later and first talk about defending?
Did you have an amendment that you were proposing, Dario? You don't have one, but you would like to bring one. Would you?
Yeah. But let me just respond to that maybe. I understand the point, but religious freedom in terms of human rights is defined in the UN documents on human rights. So I suggest that we do not make any changes to this. If states use it for, as you said, as a weapon or for other purposes, we do not have to change our wording. That is my point, because everyone understands what religious freedom actually means. So we stick to this, and if it becomes misused by someone, then that is the problem, but not the wording. So therefore, I suggest that we stick to religious freedom.
I am looking at the original person who brought it up, and he is giving me a thumbs up. Test it with that. Can we see how you feel about keeping the language as it is? See cards, please. Okay, thank you. Now we are back to, yes, on number F, defending to replace engaging in human rights advocacy. So we're removing advocacy as well as engaging in. That amendment is before us. Microphone B, please.
Susanna Schneeberger from Swiss Protestant Church. I'm a delegate and I will try to speak in English. I don't like that we are weakening the point F. So I don't really, I suggest that we stay with advocacy. If we want to use defending or engaging, that's not the point. But advocacy should not be put down. Yeah.
Thank you. So testing the cards on the amendment that we would have it be, F would be human rights in particular, in defending human rights in particular with regard to religious freedom. How do you feel about that amendment? I believe I see more blue cards than I do orange. So I'm going to declare that not accepted. So then we're back to the original F, engaging in human rights advocacy, in particular with regard to human freedom. How do you feel about that? That has been, a consensus has been reached. Thank you. Thank you, George. And let us...
Moderator.
Yes, go ahead.
There's somebody.
Microphone C, please.
Thank you. Moderator, I would like perhaps just some clarification and for the help of member churches to ask, with regards to these 6 points, what in those 6 points is specifically Reformed and specifically Christian? When we engage in interfaith relationships and dialogues and cooperation, the central question is, what about Christ? And it's difficult for member churches often to engage in those discussions without clarity. Where do we stand in following Christ and in his witness to the love and justice and grace of God? So in our discernment group, I asked for an additional point to be added, just saying that when we enter into those dialogues, we are following Christ in his witness to God's love and justice and grace. As those 6 points stand there, I cannot see why it is specifically Reformed or even specifically Christian without mentioning his name. And I don't have an amendment ready.
Yeah.
I'm actually asking for a little bit of clarification.
That has already been approved, so I'm going to declare that we will not return to it. Now we come to the deciding process of ecumenical engagement. Is that correct?
It's covenanting for justice.
Or covenanting for justice. Okay, thank you.
Moderator, the listening phase 4, covenanting for justice, the first paragraph. The WCRC is committed to a comprehensive understanding of justice, emphasizing its central role in faith and divine identity. It highlights that justice is not merely an ethical requirement, but is deeply embedded in the divine nature and God's intentions for the world.
How do you feel about that? That is carried.
Conceptual goals. On the foundation of this commitment, the General Council of the WCRC resolves to continue to commit to the following conceptual goals that shall shape its life, theology, life, and witness, and its justice programs. A, we declare that injustice is contrary to God's will, and that economic, political, religious, and cultural actions that deny life are instances where God is denied.
How do you feel? I see one blue card. Are you wanting to speak? Microphone C.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. I am Paul Francis from the Church of South India. And just one word to be added in that particular thing is social. We declare that injustice is contrary to God's will, and that socio-economic, political, religious, and cultural actions that deny life or instances deny life or instances where God is denied. Just a proposal. Thank you.
How do you feel about adding social to that sentence? That is carried overwhelmingly. Thank you. Now, can we see how you feel about that as a whole? That is affirmed by consensus. Thank you.
B, we affirm that justice is a communicable attribute of God and calls for transforming the world to align with God's will and desires. It emphasizes that justice is central to faith and essential for faithful living.
How do you feel? I don't see it. There is one blue card. Would that person like to speak?
Good morning, moderator, Wouter van Wyk, Hervormde Kerk, South Africa. It's just on the formulation, a communicable attribute of God. In our discernment group, we said, we're not clear what the meaning of this word is. It's unclear to us, and therefore we would like, an explanation of that. Might I also add, the only phrase in which I know the term communicable is communicable diseases. So I'm not a mother tongue English speaker, so I'm not sure. If communicable is used in that sense, it would mean that this attribute of God automatically spreads to everything it touches, which I don't think applies to justice. I think justice needs to be applied. So the only question that we have is on the formulation, what is exactly meant, and whether there might not be any misunderstanding about it. We don't have a problem with a paragraph as a whole. It's just with that formulation, please.
May I ask?
I think somebody who wrote the original needs to respond to that, moderator.
Is someone from the original proposal making present? Yes, microphone B.
As a member of staff and therefore also a consultant in some ways, may I make a point of clarification here?
Please.
So communicable and non-communicable attributes of God are terms that are used traditionally in theology. Non-communicable attributes of God are those attributes which God does not share with the rest of creation. Communicable attributes of God are those attributes of God which God shares with the rest of creation. So justice of God, if the proposal says that justice of God is an attribute of God that God shares with the rest of creation.
With that clarification, how do you feel the original speaker to that? I think let's move on. How do you feel about the amendment or the proposal as presented? That is approved by consensus. Thank you. Moving.
Moderator C, we affirm the importance of just relationships among humans and the rest of creation, acknowledging the interconnectedness of all life.
How do you feel? That is approved.
D, we recognize that we live in a wounded world. We affirm that God calls us into a covenantal relationship with God's self and all of creation for participatory justice in the economy and the earth.
How do you feel? That is carried. Oh, there are, oh, I see, yes. Would a blue card like to speak?
Hi, can you hear me? Yeah. I'm Anneke Bakia. I'm a delegate of the Reformed Church in Germany, and I'll be speaking in English. I was just wondering, when we're talking about a wounded world, if we could include also our churches specifically, because I'm a little worried that we sometimes talk about all the misery in our world, but there's also a lot of things going on and misconduct in our churches. So maybe we could add in a wounded world, including our churches. But maybe there's a better suggestion. But yeah, that's what I would like to suggest. Thank you.
How do you, does anyone have a comment, how they feel about that proposal? Let's test how the body feels about including churches being added. That is consensus, so that is approved. Now we take the entire part D, please. How do you feel? There's a blue card. I will ask you to speak. Oh, no? Yes. Microphone C.
It's after the voting, after the consensus. I have a general remark after that.
Okay. So then it was carried, right? Okay, we have carried point D. And now, question at microphone C, a comment.
Ulrich Weinold, Église protestante unie de France. Je suis délégué et je parle en français. J'aimerais attirer l'attention sur le point que nous avons discuté, la question sur la justice, et nous allons tout à l'heure réfléchir sur le point mission. J'ai l'impression qu'il n'y a pas de distinction vraiment entre les points stratégiques ou les
Moderator,
points...
I'm sorry. There seems to be a problem with translation, and members of the floor are indicating that. Yes, yes, we can hear now.
Okay, let's try it again.
J'aimerais attirer l'attention. Tout à l'heure, nous allons discuter sur le point mission, que j'ai l'impression que les deux points justice que nous avons discutés sur les objectifs conceptuels sont très proches de ce que nous avons discuté maintenant entre justice et mission. Et j'aimerais attirer l'attention dans nos discussions que nous avons une distinction à faire entre les questions éthiques et justice et les questions de mission. Mission, c'est aussi annoncer l'évangile, et moi je ne le retrouve pas dans le paragraphe à discuter tout à l'heure. Je voulais donner la remarque maintenant, puisque nous avons validé le travail sur la justice, que nous faisons attention à la distinction tout à l'heure quand on discutera les conceptions sur la mission.
Thank you for that comment. I think we will take it under advisement.
Moderator, we move on to strategies. Considering these conceptual goals, the General Council of the WCRC resolves to affirm the following strategies. A, the General Council calls for a global recognition that this present economic system has cost lives, and enough blood has been shed, and has laid waste to the earth. We affirm the sovereignty of God, and that just economic systems are central to a life of faith.
How do you feel about that? That is affirmed by consensus.
B, we reaffirm our commitment to the Accra Confession and its principles.
How do you feel? That is affirmed.
C, we need to continue our work with the NIFIA, and we've added in the full name, New International Financial and Economic Architecture Process, and strengthen it ecumenically. We particularly seek to deepen its commitment to a systemic economic transformation. We also call for an extension of the ZAC tax campaign for tax justice and reparations, of course referring to the biblical narrative around Zacchaeus.
How do you feel? That is approved by consensus.
D, to develop and further the decade for climate justice action and to work with our member churches and our ecumenical partners such as the World Council of Churches and the Council for World Mission to covenant with the earth and to work for ecological justice and reparations.
How do you feel? That is approved by consensus.
E, to commit to identify, name, and deconstruct patriarchy in church and society, to work with our member churches to further the cause of gender justice in ordination and leadership, to work on issues of women and labor, women and militarization, and women in education, to counter homophobia, and to work with men and boys for the cause of a community of equals.
How do you feel? There are blue cards and someone is coming to mic A.
Yes, moderator. Helene Zorgdrager from the Protestant Church in the Netherlands. Our discernment group suggested to add to homophobia, to counter homophobia and transphobia, which is violence and hate speech against transgender and non-binary people. I wonder why the drafting committee has not accepted it into the renewed proposal, and I propose here as an amendment to add the word transphobia to it.
Thank you. George, did you want to speak to that?
It's always a matter of how many groups say a particular thing and how many groups say the opposite thing. So I'm not in a position to either defend or to explain why it didn't end up in there, but this is exactly the method through which it can be put in again.
So we have an amendment, and I ask how the House feels about the amendment. Just the amendment. I see overwhelmingly orange, but I do see a blue or two. Someone would like to speak to that?
I want to do an addition to that. It's okay?
Okay. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Because I want to say maybe we can add not transphobia, so anti-queer attitudes or anti-LGBTQIA hate and discrimination. So then we have really the whole thing and not two of LGBTQIA. It would be very inclusive, I think.
I just want to give a moment for our scribe to catch up so that folks can see.
Sorry, it's not an addition. The homophobia and transphobia should be deleted, and anti-LGBTQIA discrimination means the whole thing, so yeah.
I'm wondering if the First Amendment maker would like to speak to the amendment to your amendment.
Although I am not against anti-LGBTQIA to replace it, but I think it is for the majority of our churches more understandable if we name it like homophobia and transphobia. That's why we proposed to add transphobia.
Thank you. I'd like to test how the House feels about the amendment that includes and anti-LGBTQIA discrimination. How does the House feel about that? I see a blue card, so would a blue card please speak to that?
Moderator.
What mic are we at? D, please.
Yes, D. My name is Abraham Nano Parekwachi from the Presbyterian Church of Ghana. I'm not too clear what this is about. Are we dealing with issues of discrimination across all areas? If that is the case, then discrimination. But why particularly discuss discrimination against LGBTI? I think that is an issue. I don't even understand the transphobia. Thank you.
Yes, I think perhaps what I will suggest right now is take just a couple of moments at your tables and talk about how you feel about this amendment to this proposal.
Unfortunately, my table they don't understand.
Let us come back together, please. I would like to proceed forward with this to begin with what is the latest amendment, which strikes out homophobia and transphobia and instead has anti-LGBTQIA discrimination. How does the House feel about that amendment to the full of that paragraph? I think in this We have more blue cards than we have orange. Someone wants to speak. Which microphone are we at? A, please.
Gracias. Thank you, President. My name is Isette, and I'm going to speak in Spanish. Y voy a hablar a favor de por qué mantener el anti-LGTBIQ+ discriminación. En el primer argumento del entendimiento de las iglesias, si entendemos transfobia, vamos a entender todas las demás letras. En el segundo argumento de poner discriminación en sentido general, si no lo mencionamos, si no lo nombramos, se diluye. No lo tenemos presente y no luchamos contra eso. Podemos adicionar que si queremos otro, con otro tipo de discriminaciones, pero en este en específico, la justicia está en luchar contra todas las fobias, contra la comunidad LGTBIQ+. Entonces, por eso la defensa de mantener el anti-LGBTQ+, porque incluye a todos y a todas. No es solo la transfobia, no es solo la homofobia, sino todas las personas que sufren de injusticia, de violencia por su identidad sexual, por su orientación, por su género.
Okay, the speaker was in favor of the amendment. Nope. Yes, the amendment. And I want to test how we respond to those comments. You feel warm toward those? To keep the amendment as is on the screen. I see more orange than blue, but I have...
No.
Please tone down. Well, can you hold them higher? Thank you. That helps tremendously to be able to see your cards. So we have a division of the House, I would say, on this issue. We are, so I will allow Speaker at mic B and then A and...
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm Samuel Fonke from the Presbyterian Church in Cameroon. I'm a delegate and I will speak in English. I just want to find out from the executive of the World Communion of Reformed Churches, what is the stance of this communion in matters of sexuality? We really need to know that. Has it been validated before? Or we're just trying to push it in and to take it now as a consensus? Thank you.
Please hold the applause. That's part of our covenant together.
Thank you.
Setri, would you like to speak to that?
Can I make a point of order? I'm sorry.
I hear
but
Victoria's voice.
Oh, sorry. Can I make a point of order?
Yes.
That I don't think this is related, actually, to the motion. The resolution is talking about discrimination against people who have alternative sexualities. It is not affirming people who have different genders or different sexualities. We're talking about people being hurt. And in that sense, I think this is confusing the discussion and it's not helping us move along, hence my point of order.
Thank you. Appreciate that comment. Setri, yeah, I think I would like to have Setri speak to this.
The last General Council only mandated continuing conversations around it. There is no stance. Continuing conversations around which that mandate enabled our programming to have a couple of consultations, but there's no stance for or against that we can say this is the WCRC stance on LGBTQ issues. Yes. Yes. Okay. So my colleagues remind me that while there's no stance on affirmation, there is a clear stance, Action 56, in the Leipzig General Council on non-discrimination. So I think that's... Yeah.
Thank you for that clarification. That's very helpful. I said A first, and then we'll go to B.
Rifat Fathi, Synod of the Nile, Egypt. We seek to express a more positive approach. I suggest that we accept every person without discrimination according to the biblical principles.
Can you repeat that one more time for the people at the table typing?
We accept every person without discrimination according to the biblical principles.
While I affirm what you are saying, I think maybe it does not fit well with the strategy that is trying to be identified in this. I guess I will test the House. Can we, do we think that this is helpful for moving the situation forward, or no? Yeah, no, that's a no, but thank you for your suggestion, so that will go away. Any other I have B, I promised.
Thank you. Tara Lewis, Church of Scotland, I speak in English. Whilst I acknowledge the importance of working with all groups of people around anti-discrimination, I don't see how the addition of anti-LGBTQI+ discrimination works with the rest of the sentence, because the rest of the sentence is to work with men and boys for the cause of community of equals. I see that the whole paragraph is broken into two parts. The first part is to work on issues with women, and the second part is to work on issues with men and boys. And so to counter homophobia and transphobia sits well, to broaden it doesn't sit as easily. Thank you.
I think what I would like to do is test the House on the entire edition, and then we'll go from there. But how do we feel to include the words and transphobia, how is that?
Just
anti-LGBTQIA discrimination in parentheses. How does the House feel about that?
Question.
Thank you. Question, microphone C. I'd like to hear from you.
Thank you, moderator. Brian Ellison from the Presbyterian Church USA in English. I believe we were debating only the highlighted parenthetical anti-LGBTQIA.
Yes, we were.
So I would have different feelings about the two parts. So if we could test that first.
Okay, I appreciate that. We were trying to make a decision as to how to proceed here. So, okay, let's go back to my first question then. We did not have a agreement in the House as to whether we would add the anti-LGBT discrimination. So, from there, Can I test it to remove that part of the amendment? How do you feel about that?
Which is which?
There is, again, a division of the House.
We don't know how to vote.
We don't know how to vote. I hear in my ear from someone from some table over here. Okay. Let us. What do you think? Let us take just a few minutes again to talk at your tables, to say how you feel that we would best move forward, with which of these two, if we don't want to include both. So please talk at your table, and I'll come back to you.
There's no standpoint as per the Leipzig last meeting decision. So no standpoint. Yes. No, what is this thing? That's right. What is this thing? Yes. Okay. That's what I want to say.
I'm thinking that it's just, I don't know,
On the issue. I want us to just drop that clause to counter. Until this and just remain to work with men and boys. Yes. I want to just remove that whole phrase, which is making us start. Yes. Yes. Remove that to counter. It's all. We only agree to work with men and boys. I support. That's what I'm coming here for. Good. Go ahead, brother. You have my support.
Come back, please. And I promise you, you can still talk later, but please come back so we can move forward with this. As moderator, I'm going to make a suggestion for us to move forward. And the suggestion is that we are going to divide this paragraph. What I am suggesting E will now look like is to commit to identity, name, and deconstruct patriarchy in church and society, to work with our member churches to further the cause of gender justice in ordination and leadership, to work on issues of women and about women, and militarization and women and education. Stop. This is what I would like us at this point to show your cards on. Then let me finish before you put them up. That what we are suggesting is to send the rest of that paragraph back to the drafting team for some work, and then we'll come back to that later. How do you feel about that proposal? Okay, that will be approved by consensus. Thank you very much.
Thank you, moderator. We will bring that back in our report tomorrow. That last sentence beginning with to and ending with equals. If we can go on to number F.
Sorry, something different.
Moderator, paragraph F.
Yes.
To further...
Please. Oh, sorry.
It's different. It's unrelated to the heavy discussion we had. Can I please say something?
Yes. Microphone D, please.
Yeah, it's not about the sentence that's starting from where we were discussing, but I just want to say, Tiwonge Ngambi from United Church of Zambia. I just want to add that on the sentence that's speaking about women, is it possible if we can please add the word girls to women? Because I understand that when you say women, it kind of looks like we are including the girls, but they face different vulnerabilities. So can we just say women and girls to that sentence? Thank you. We can say issues relating to women and girls regarding labor, militarization, and education. That way. Thank you.
I think, while I appreciate your contribution, that has been approved by consensus, and perhaps that can be discussed in another way. But thank you for that. We are... Okay, we do need to give opportunity for blue cards, so microphone A, are you a blue card?
Es solo, sorry, Seth, and I'm going to speak in Spanish. Disculpe, moderadora, antes de pasar al otro punto, solo compartir con la sala y también con el comité de redacción que va a estar trabajando en la otra parte de la propuesta que acabamos de pasar para este comité. Que cuando estamos hablando de discriminaciones, cuando estamos hablando de fobias, no estamos hablando de conceptos, estamos hablando de personas. Y muchas de esas personas están hoy sentadas aquí, alrededor nuestro, en nuestras mesas. Son las personas con las que ayer adoramos en el servicio, personas con las que almorzamos, comemos, y quiero que se tenga en cuenta esto cuando vayamos a redactar nuevamente la propuesta. No estamos posicionándonos frente a un concepto o a un principio moral. Estamos hablando de vidas de personas que día a día sufren violencia, discriminación y rechazo por nuestras propias iglesias.
Thank you very much. We will ensure that the drafting team will consider that and hold it as a value as they go forward. Thank you. And microphone C.
Yeah, Anna Kabaka from the Evangelical Reformed Church in Germany. I'm a delegate. I'll be speaking in English. In our discernment group, we wanted to add an additional paragraph, and I would have preferred that, but as we can't do that right now, it's most closely related to the paragraph we just talked about, and so now it was taken apart, so it's hard to know where to make this suggestion now. We talked about including sexual violence in our churches, and I tried to prepare just a briefer version of what we had suggested to add it to a paragraph, but we would still prefer to have an additional one.
What I would ask is that you would send that to the drafting team and that they can include that in their modifications.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moderator, paragraph number F. To further our solidarity with Palestinian people and work towards resisting Christian Zionism, and here we refer to a number of groups asked for a definition, and it is discussed in the workbook, the one with the yellow cover, and it's on page 106 to 108 from paragraph 11. There's an extensive discussion there. So after the parentheses, both as a theology as well as a geopolitical strategy.
That is before us, number F. How do you feel about that? There are some blue cards. Would one please come to the table, to the microphone?
Am I?
Si.
That is me, thank you. Johannes de Vries, Reformed Church of Germany. I'm a delegate and I'll try to speak in English. We are here to listen to each other, especially on difficult issues, and I think this is a rather difficult issue. For instance, my discernment group suggested to leave it out as a whole, but at the same time, I know that, that others feel very strongly about it. My suggestion is to add, to further our solidarity with both the Palestinian and the Israeli people. I hope that we can agree on that we are in solidarity with both sides of this conflict. And yeah, that's my first suggestion.
Okay, thank you. I'll test the House. How do you feel about adding "and Israeli people"? Yes, please hold your cards higher. It is definitely a division of the House on this matter. So I would declare, I think that at this point, perhaps that is not going to pass as is, but do we have any other amendments that we could make to that? Okay. Okay, let us go to, I saw microphone A first. We'll get back to you on that point once we hear more, okay? Is that acceptable? Microphone C?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. A, please.
I'm Danny Awad from the Presbyterian Church in the Holy Land in Palestine in Bethlehem. I prefer to leave the sentence as it is, but we need to add something very important on it. The further of our solidarity with the Palestinian people and work toward resisting Zionism and Christian Zionism. So we need to add that word on it. Thank you.
We'll take that amendment for testing the House. I promise you I'm not going to forget the number C. But let's test the House on this one. Adding Zionism and Christian Zionism. How do you feel? Higher, please, yes. I know you're getting tired because you want to go to lunch soon. It's definitely a greater number of orange cards, but I will have a blue card speak to it? No one coming to the mic. Or is C, are you coming for that particular purpose? Okay, C, please.
Moderator, my name is Jan Libbe from the Dutch Reformed Church in South Africa. And I feel that we're running in the same kind of problems as the previous one. And my suggestion is, before testing the house in adding or deleting a specific term, perhaps one should clarify the specific meaning of Zionism and Christian Zionism. In our discernment group, we felt that Christian Zionism, in the context of many of the member churches, is not running on its own. It's connected to Christian nationalism. And if you point out a specific ideology, you should be clear to add one, but you need a definition of that. So before testing those, perhaps allow time for people to speak, and let's get clarity on what does they mean with a specific term. So that's my question.
Thank you. The definitions are in the workbook, I believe. Is that correct?
Page
106 to 108.
Yep.
So we do have some definitions. So the question, I guess, is, let me think about that for just a minute. Let me go to D, and then we'll come back to that addition again. Yes, D.
Thank you, moderator. I want to speak to exactly the point raised by Jan Lübbe. My name is Hannes Brüggemann-Hämmerling. I'm a delegate from the Reformed Alliance in Germany. I will be speaking in English while my mother language is German, but I'm trying to reach all of you because I think it's an important topic where we should discern and try to keep communion. So, because I think it's not a very well way to define a term by sending us to another book, which I'm not sure about the official capacity of that, I propose an amendment with a clear definition of Christian Zionism, so we can discuss about it. So my amendment is, I can give it you in writing if I'm talking too fast, but I'll try to be slower. After towards resisting Christian Zionism, I would delete the brackets and I would insert as a theological and geopolitical strategy that supports the movement of the Jewish diaspora to a Jewish homeland, where I would put, like, what do you call it? Gänsefüßchen, wir sagen in German. Around the Jewish homeland, because that should also be another point for definition. Anyway, in Palestine, rooted in the belief that this will lead to the second coming of Jesus and issue the or a millennium. So, to whom should I enter this?
They're
Against
asking
no.
us.
Okay, I will do it without interjections. So after Christian Zionism, as a theological, resisting towards Christian Zionism as the theological and geopolitical strategy that supports the movement of the Jewish diaspora to a Jewish homeland in Palestine. Slowly.
I believe maybe the better thing we're going to do here is if you could send it to the House for us to see. I think we're getting lost.
I can say it in
it.
German. I'm sorry.
What do you suggest?
Thank you.
Let's take just a couple minute pause till this happens.
Notice us. Yeah. But I'm not sure if they will be.
The proposed amendment is on the screen. I want to test the House for how you feel about it. Cards high, please. How do you feel about the amendment? Anyone out there? How do you feel about this amendment? I'm seeing some orange cards and some blue cards. May I suggest a path forward? I would suggest that we refer this back to the drafting team. And if you have thoughts about how you would like to see a path forward that you think might be helpful for the body, that you send that to the drafting team and they can consider this. I believe this is similar to the last discussion we had. I believe there's going to be quite a bit of disagreement in this body, and I would rather that we find perhaps better language that we can have some agreement on rather than just discussing it as a sort of nebulous issue. We have blue cards. I will take C as having been first.
Merci, Madame la modératrice. Ulrich Weinhold, Église protestante unie de France. Je suis délégué, je parle en français. Je propose que nous enlevons complètement le thème concret d'un peuple qui est concerné, puisque nous sommes ici dans une stratégie globale. Et je ne vois pas pourquoi on se focus sur un peuple, une situation concrète. Certes, elle est importante à considérer et je propose que nous le fassions dans la déclaration publique où nous allons travailler concrètement les questions qui sont concernées. Je propose qu'ici, nous mettons les peuples qui souffrent en général et œuvrer pour résister contre des idéologies qui oppressent, pour être aussi général. Et nous allons le travailler dans les différentes situations concrètes qui sont concernées, dont la situation de Palestine est une, mais pas la seule.
There is much passion around this issue, and I think it's already being manifest in our discussion together. As moderator, I think I would suggest that to remove this particular language fully would not bring us to a better place of harmony on the discussion. Can I have a show of hand or cards about referring this back to the drafting team for further work? There are a few blue cards, but for the most part, we are mostly feeling good about this. Recognizing that when we send it back to the drafting team, it will come back to the body. Can I ask that those with blue cards be willing to go with that suggestion going forward so that we can bring it back so that we can have further discussion with a more coherent plan? Okay, I have two blues that want to speak to that, so I will go back to C and then B.
Ulrich Weinhold, Église protestante unie de France, et délégué, je parle en français. Ma demande était plus large que référer juste sur un sujet. Donc je crois qu'il faut aussi que nous nous discutions ou que nous demandons l'ambiance dans l'Assemblée par rapport à ma proposition qui n'a été pas faite. Donc je propose que vous demandiez à l'Assemblée comment l'Assemblée se sent par rapport à mettre ce paragraphe plus général et d'avoir dans la déclaration publique ensuite le cas concret.
I believe that I will let B speak, microphone B, and then I will make a ruling that I hope will give us time to discuss this further. B, please.
Yes, thank you. I'm Martin Hirzel, Protestant Church in Switzerland. I agree that we refer the discussion about definition on Christian Zionism to the drafting team, but I would point to the fact that the resistance towards Zionism as a whole was added now from the floor, and that we shouldn't mix up these two items. So I think we should express ourselves of if this term Zionism as a whole, which entails a lot of other issues, we don't express ourselves. This should be treated now. That is my request.
Thank you. I would really suggest that we would be better served if you have comments to bring those to the drafting team, send it back, and ask them to come back to the floor for us. As I'm hearing, we want more definition. I'm hearing we want to widen the scope. I'm not sure at this point we can do those things concurrently. So I would request that we would send it to the drafting team to come back to us.
Thank you, moderator. We return then to the list of proposals, and we're on paragraph G. To further our work in solidarity with indigenous people, learning from their wisdom and ways, and to work with them to dismantle the overwhelming and life-destroying settler colonial ideologies and practices, including the denial of the doctrine of discovery, which has been so harmful.
How do you feel about that? Would someone with a blue card please come to the mic? Microphone C.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. My name is Dana Allen. I am from the Covenant Order of Evangelical Presbyterians. I am a delegate, and I will be speaking in English. I just wanted to propose an addition to the last line that we formulated in our drafting committee, but that did not make it to the floor. I'll say it slowly and maybe just give brief comment. The amendment would be this, to add, and to encourage member churches to release control of property and finances within other member churches. And here's the rationale. We have some denominations that were formed from the West whose property is still under the control, denominations that were formed from the West in other countries, whose property is still under control of the West. I'll give a brief example. The church in Malaysia had their property held by the Presbyterian Church of England, made it extremely difficult for them to function with autonomy. And so once their property was released from the church in England, they had the agency to make their own decisions. So I'm suggesting that denominations that control the property of other denominations would release that, and then we'd be able to, that's the historical colonialism that we'd be able to dismantle. Thank you.
So we have that amendment on the floor. How do you feel? Cards higher, yes, please. Energy. That has been approved by consensus. Thank you. So with that amendment, how do you feel about all of G? I have one blue card. Would you come to the mic, please? Or there's two, actually, but B, please.
Just a clarification, what do you mean by doctrine of discovery? Just a clarification only.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that.
In this statement, it says doctrine of discovery. What do you mean by that?
Doctrine of discovery?
Yes.
Okay. Would someone like to speak to that?
I'm not the best place to speak to that.
Yes, Joseph.
When the Western pioneers moved to the New World, they assumed that there is no one lived there, inherited there. So those lands found by the pioneers belong to those who found the land for the first time. So it is a kind of legal doctrine. They can claim that. And then settlers colonialism means that when settlers arrive in the New World or occupied world, if there are already indigenous people who were inheriting that, they cannot claim that land. So ethnic cleansing and genocide happen to remove all of their life so that they can claim that land belonged to colonizers. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Microphone D, please.
Thank you, Vice President. Carmen Lansdowne, United Church of Canada. I'll speak in English. I'm a delegate. Thank you to Joseph Kum for the explanation. I think it's important to add that the doctrine of discovery is based on a series of papal bulls that authorized all of that. So it comes from Christian theology.
Thank you. Microphone B.
Yes, my name is Janneke Stegeman from the Netherlands. I'm here as an advisor, so I'm asking if I can speak. So I find it important to say that the doctrine of discovery came specifically from Catholic colonialism. And I think that Protestant colonialism had its own ways of claiming indigenous lands that was similar. But because we are here as a reformed body, I would suggest maybe to add something like Protestant supremacy, to make it clear that we are also directly targeting Reformed theology and Reformed colonial theology.
So that would be an amendment to after doctrine of discovery and Protestant supremacy.
Maybe the words ideas of Protestant supremacy.
And ideas of Protestant supremacy. I'll test that with the body. How do you feel about that amendment? Need to see your cards. I see a blue, one blue. Would you like to speak to it? No? Then that's approved by consensus to add that. Now we're back to the full paragraph again. There's a blue at microphone D.
Michael Blair, United Church of Canada, a delegate, and I speak in English. Moderator, I wanted to go back to the original, that the addition of the statement about property actually takes away from the intent of G as it was originally offered to us. I think the question of mission, denominational mission projects that still hold properties in other spaces is a separate thing from the reality of indigenous, the challenges of both the kind of genocide but the continuing oppression of indigenous people. So I had put my blue card up to speak against adding the sentence on property.
Unfortunately, we have already accepted that amendment. I thought I did ask for a blue card to speak, but I perhaps wasn't clear enough. So now we are dealing with all of G. How do you feel? Lunch will come soon, please. Cards up. Have cards. We do have blues. Could someone? I'm being advised to perhaps invite you to move on with the rest of the body at this point. Are you in agreement for that? No? Okay. Can you come speak then, please?
Karen Georgia Thompson, United Church of Christ. I'll be speaking in English. I'm a delegate. I just want to kind of move back to the conversation about Protestant supremacy. And just note that the doctrine of discovery was actually used by Protestant churches, even though it came out of those papal bulls. So I think to add the Protestant supremacy piece seems to imply that Protestants somehow were not also implicated in the doctrine of discovery and its interests and intent.
Unfortunately, we had already accepted that amendment as well. If you are ready for us to move on, which I see we have a C microphone. Please.
Brian Ellison from the Presbyterian Church USA. Moderator, could you clarify, is there a process for reconsidering a previous action? Can the body not request to go back if there's a concern about something that was passed?
Let me consult.
Moderator, I don't believe so, but perhaps we can examine the rules which are in the Blue Book. As far as I can understand them, as soon as we move on to the next item. And the reason we do so is because if we were to entrench a policy in which we can continuously go back, we would never finish the business of this council, and everybody who ever handled a blue card would be able to take us back time and time again. So my understanding is if after amendment has been tested and you've received consensus, you then move to taking the paragraph as a whole, you receive consensus, and then you move to the following paragraph.
So I believe at this point we have accepted the paragraph, right? May I please have your feelings about the entire paragraph? While there are blues, there is consensus for us to receive it. It is affirmed by consensus.
Paragraph H, to commit to intersectional approaches of anti-colonial, anti-racist, anti-black racism, and anti-caste initiatives, and address the legacies of slavery, working for democracy and the sovereignty of all people.
How do you feel? We have one blue card coming to the mic.
Johannes de Vries, Reformed Church of Germany, I speak English. Could we maybe include, and my discernment group suggested that also, could we please include anti-racist, anti-black racism, and so on, and after anti-black and anti-Semitic racism. I think we are against anti-Semitism, so I think it makes sense to add it. No, anti-black and anti-Semitic racism. I mean, you could make it a second. You could enter it. To commit to intersectional approaches of anti-black and anti-Semitic racism. It's also a form of racism.
Does the drafting team have a response to that?
No, moderator. If somebody wants to make an amendment, that is absolutely fine. You just need to test it.
How do you feel about adding anti-Semitism? There are some blue cards if someone would like to come to the mic. Microphone B.
Moderator, I don't have a blue card, but I'm an advisor, so I ask whether I can speak.
Please.
My name is Alan Bussock. I'm from the Uniting Reformed Church in Southern Africa in Cape Town, and I speak in English. I just want to ask from the brother there, what definition of anti-Semitism is he referring to? We now have such broadening of the word anti-Semitism that in some countries you can actually go to jail for being pro-Palestinian, which is then translated into anti-Semitism. And do we realize also that Palestinians are also Semitic? And so we have to be very clear on that one. I do not think that anti-Semitism is a fitting way of dealing with a particular issue unless we are very clear about which definition we are using here. Thank you.
Please hold your applause. Microphone C, please.
The brother asked me for my definition. Definition of anti-Semitism that I would suggest is hatred against Jews just because they are Jews. And I think we should support that. It has nothing to do with Palestinians. Anti-Semitism is a global phenomenon, and it has nothing to do with the conflict, or maybe it does, but on another level. Yeah.
I'll test the House on the amendment of adding anti-Semitism. We do not have agreement. It's pretty much a division of the House, I would say. So I would say, as moderator, I would ask that we not add it and allow that further discussion be on this issue. Can you agree with that? Thank you. Let us move on. So now we have the whole of letter H in front of us. How do you feel? The preponderance is orange. We will declare that that is confirmed by a consensus. Moving to the next. To I, please.
Okay. Moderator, paragraph I, to commit to create a robust analysis and critique of AI and its risks to humans with an intersectional approach, attending to the ecological and economic justice impact, to provide resources to address the risks of AI and the role of the church. This was added by the drafting team after an overwhelming majority of groups, I think in response to a presentation we had on the day, asked that a paragraph be included on AI.
How does the House feel about that? That is consensus. That is passed by consensus.
Moderator, paragraph J is the last one. To make greater efforts to educate churches about social issues, including economic justice, ecological stewardship, migration, and inequalities, so that congregations can better understand and respond to these realities from a faith perspective. Again, this was added by the drafting team after an overwhelming response from the discernment groups asked us to put in something about congregations and resources for them.
How do you feel about that? That is passed by consensus.
Moderator, that concludes the business of listening phase number 4.
Okay, thank you. I will recognize the microphone D blue card.
Yes, thank you very much, Madam Moderator. This is Julia Beres from the Reformed Church in Hungary, and I would like to make an amendment, an extra point that we also discussed in our discernment group. My suggestion is to add as the following: to further our solidarity with member churches around the globe living in the context of war and conflict.
Are you suggesting a whole other point?
Yes.
Okay, have you sent that in?
To further our solidarity with member churches around the globe living in the context of war and conflict.
Moderator, as far as I understand the rules, an amendment can come to any existing paragraph that was tabled at the listening phase, but I'm not aware of a process in the plenary of adding an item of business to be sent to the discernment groups. The way to do that is to mention it in the discernment group, and then the next day the drafting committee will look at it and phrase another paragraph coming from the discernment groups. But I don't think there is a process that allows a delegate to stand and add an item, but I'm open to correction.
That would be my understanding as well. Looking to the General Secretary, would you agree?
But if it was mentioned in a discernment group, if you could explain to understand. So in our discernment group, as far as I remember, we talked about it and we voted on this. So I don't really understand. Sorry, if you could just clarify it further for me. Thank you.
The drafting team does take into consideration all the reports that are sent to them. And would that be fair to say, George, that we look for common themes and those that perhaps are outliers aren't necessarily brought? But
so, and I hope that if you re-examine the paragraphs carefully, you might see that influence of the drafting group was taking it into account in some of the changes in the words.
okay. Thank you. At this time,
Yes, Madam Moderator.
sorry,
Please.
just a minute for the delegate at microphone D. Did that explanation satisfy you?
Yeah, I really appreciate the work of the drafting committee. I felt that it is a more general topic and influencing a lot of churches, member churches, and that was the reason why I thought that I will try again from the plenary session, as I did not see this on the drafting document that we received in the morning.
Okay, thank you. Microphone B.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. My name is Omar Onwunta from the Presbyterian Church of Nigeria. I'm a delegate, but I'm standing right now as the president of Africa Communion of Reformed Churches. We have a submission from the African delegates to this council. It arises from the report that was received on the Women's Caucus on Saturday. We observed that when the report was presented, paragraphs 6 and 7, and precisely paragraph 7, said something like this: that the Secretariat is requested to develop resource materials that will challenge heterosexist views, among others.
Excuse me, but I would rule this out of order at this point. We are not going back to another point at this. We are in the process of discernment where we are. So I would rule that out of order if you want to send it to the drafting team or so, but not to include that at this point.
Well, Madam Moderator, is similar to what happened on Saturday, because many blue cards were raised on this point, but it was overruled. And that's why the delegates from Africa feel that we should come and make this submission on the floor of the council.
Let us take if you would correspond to the table, and it will go to the business committee to decide where we would go from here.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
I'll comply accordingly.
Microphone A.
Daniel Alec, Presbyterian Church of South Sudan. Thank you, moderator. Trying to talk on what the drafting committee convener has just said. I don't think that if there is a concern in the plenary that need also to be added, then it should be also ignored because it has not been discussed in the drafting team. What goes to the drafting team is what come out from here. So if we say that we need to have a solidarity statement on the churches in the conflict-affected areas, even if it is not going to be added, then it should also be proposed and resent back to the drafting committee. This is what I think it should be the best, and it should not be ignored. Thank you.
No, we are not ignoring it. It is being sent back for further work.
Thank you.
So I'm looking to the General Secretary. How would you like to proceed time-wise? Let us pause for a moment of prayer, and then we will go into our next session, which is a listening session. Can we take maybe a 5-minute bio stand-up, and then we'll start into the other. But let us pray about what we have just done. Gracious God, we are thankful that you are with us and that you give us a sense of your care for your creation, for all of the creatures within it, and that you call us to be agents of care and kindness and solidarity with those who suffer, those who undergo difficulty because of who they are, because of where they live, because of their heritage. Lord, you know all of these circumstances from which we come and the people for whom we have care. We pray that you will bless us as we make these decisions that are sometimes difficult, where there is disagreement, but we are grateful that you are indeed in us and call us to be your people. Be with us now in this next session that we might hear your voice. In Jesus' name, amen. 5 minutes, stand up. We'll be back.
Yes.
Am I tall enough?